This is me wearing full projectile protection for netherite armor. And this is a tiny railgun, powered by wind-charged chickens. Ouch. And this is the same contraption on a warden. Volatized. Now the reason I'm making this video is because I see almost everyone using this TNT railgun, which is almost 4 years ago. And it has a few problems. It's too big, not infinitely scalable, too expensive, it's one directional and takes 4 seconds to prime. But most importantly, you can actually pick up the arrows. Now introducing the GigaChad. It's compact, it's infinitely scalable, it's cheap, it's omni-directional, and only takes 1.1 seconds to prime. But most importantly, you can't actually pick up the arrows. But how does it work? The main idea is that you splash chickens with wind charge, and then kill them with harming potions. Right before the big explosion, the trapdoors open and allow the arrows to accelerate at supersonic speeds. The arrows are placed in bubble columns so that you can't pick them up, and also so that they don't despawn. But we also need perfect alignment with the chickens and the arrows, so I have this top slab that actually keeps them in check. This makes the chicken about 0.15 blocks up, and the arrows about between 0.125 and 0.15. This method also makes it really easy to reload it, as you can just lead chickens to the bottom and they'll float right into the chamber. But now if there's too many chickens, they'll start to entity cram and they'll start dying. But fun fact, mobs in ladders, vines, or scaffolding do not entity cram, so we can use this even in water, as long as a part of their hitbox is still touching the scaffolding. Now we can replace the center bubble column, and it's nice because waterlogged scaffolding also pushes the chickens up. And now we have no limit to our power. But you might notice that when we put arrows in bubble columns, they tend to bounce up and down a lot, which causes inaccuracy in the Y level. To fix this, you have water flowing downwards, which counteracts the bubble column's upwards momentum. So if the arrow gets too high, it gets pushed down, and if it gets too low, it'll be pushed up, creating a sort of equilibrium right in the middle. Now the arrow bounces a lot less and making it a lot more accurate. But there's a problem. You'll notice now that there's water in the chamber, meaning chickens will drown. The reason for that is that when you open the trapdoors, the water inside can flow into the slab and waterlog it. I couldn't think of a simple fix for it, so I used a dispenser that manually takes out the water every time. But you also have to activate it 2 times because you have to first spit out the water and then pick it back up. And that's my brute force solution. You can't really see it with all the water around it, so I made this little demo to show you what it should look like inside. It spits out the water first, closes the trapdoors, and then picks up the water. But now we can see it in action. The chickens float straight in the chamber, they don't die to entity cramming or drowning, and you have the soul sand to align the arrows. They get wind charge 1 tick before they die, and then 1 second kaboom. Wait, why are they off target? Well, this dispenser in the corner has the harming potions. When it gets activated, the center of damage is that corner, meaning it pushes the chickens to the other side. The fix is just to center it, and then move the observer to another side. And now it damages them more evenly, no longer clustering to one side. So now if we test it, it should be relatively straight. Seems good, so let's get on to the tutorial. Also, less than 1% of you guys are subscribed, so please subscribe. Well, if you like the video, I'm not forcing you or anything. Anyways, let's head back. Start by outlining a 3x3 square with pressure plates. Dig out the square, and then in the center, dig down even more and place down your scaffoldings. Fill in the rest of the square with soul sand, and above each one, you want to place some water to create bubble columns. 2 blocks above the scaffolding, make a cross shape. Then fill in 3 of the corners with glass. Remove those center blocks and place a dispenser facing downwards. Place the top slab underneath that dispenser and that will be your chamber. Now on every side of the slab, place trapdoors on the top that close towards the slab. Going back to the top, place redstone on everything except the middle block. On one layer above, place some blocks but leave a little zigzag shape in the middle. 1 block above everything else, place a dispenser looking downwards. 1 block down and to the side, place another dispenser. Now you can wire those 2 together. In another corner, place an observer facing downwards. Make sure there's a piece of redstone underneath it. Now you can place a piece of redstone, a repeater with 4 ticks, and another redstone. Off of that last piece of redstone, place a redstone torch. And make sure it only powers the redstone dust underneath. Now use any non-solid block that water can't pass through, which I'll be using banners, and place it on all the pressure plates. Now you can fill water in the second layer. And if you did it correctly, it shouldn't spill any water out. But we're not done yet because arrows in the corners will float all the way to the top. To fix this, place any sort of waterloggable block that also don't get in the way of the arrows, which I'll be using trapdoors. And with that, the railgun should be complete. To load it, mine down to the scaffolding you place underneath. Make sure all the scaffolding is waterlogged and then you can place the chickens inside. Once you think you have enough, head up to the chamber dispenser and place a water bucket, not an empty bucket. In the very top dispenser, place your harming potions, and in the final dispenser, you can place your wind charge potions. Now for some reason the rewind didn't register those potions, but you understand what I'm saying. Now you can stand inside the bubble columns and fire an arrow. To fire it, you can use any sort of redstone source to the top right, which I'll use a button. And now your railgun should be complete. The next part is optional if you want automatic arrow loaders. First, you want to lower your soul sand. Then hook up some pistons 2 blocks away and 1 block up facing towards the soul sand. These will be pushing the arrows into the bubble columns. Once you're done with that, you want dispensers facing downwards aimed at the block in front of the piston. This will shoot the arrows right in front of the pistons, which will then push the arrows into the bubble column. You'll also want to make sure that there's a solid block underneath those pistons, otherwise the arrows would just fall through. Now just place a solid block across every single piston, and then place a line of redstone dust across all of them. That way you can power both the piston and the dispenser at the same time. Now you can connect those wires, and you'll probably need a repeater at the very end just because it doesn't reach the signal. Now you can connect this line to a redstone clock, but just a warning that you can't be too quick, otherwise it won't work. Now you can fill the hole back up with water so that the bubble columns can reach the top again. Although make sure the bottom is sealed, otherwise you'll have water destroy your redstone. If you're trying to place water at the top, you can do so by clicking on the side of the pressure plates. To place water on the second layer, you can just click the blocks on top of the trapdoors. You can also place banners or hoppers here so you can easily reload each dispenser. Once you fill them all, you can turn on the clock and watch as the arrows fly up and fill up the chamber. I'd also recommend turning off particles because a lot of bubbles can lag your game. Once you have enough arrows, you can go ahead and turn on the machine like normal. I didn't put a lot of chickens, which is why it looks like it has a short range. In reality, it's actually angled slightly up. The area isn't very wide because right now it's tuned for precision rather than area. If you want a wider spread of arrows, put the dispenser a little bit further away from the pistons. But anyways, that's it for me. If you enjoyed my effort, you can consider subscribing down below. Thank you.